Right. Hi dear students, today we will be discussing 2025 O-level paper, the latest O-level paper, paper 1 part A. All the 25 questions will be discussed, right? Okay, then you can take the paper if you don't have the soft copy at the moment, but you can download it from the link that is given in the comment section. Let's move to the paper. Right, let's see the first major question, right? I'll read the question for you. It says the initial value of an imported item is 60,000 rupees. Customs duty of 14% is charged on it. Right. What is the value of the item after the customs duty paid? There are two methods for that. You can find the customs duty separately, or else you can find the final amount straight away. So since it is 14% custom duty, the final payment should be 114%. I'll show you both methods. Right, look at this. We are taking question number 1. Right. First you can find the first method I will show you. The duty amount is 14% of the value, 60,000 rupees. Right. 60,000 rupees. Then we can cut off 2 zeros. Right. Here we can cut off 2 zeros. Then we can multiply 600 by 14. Right. If you multiply them in rupees, we have given the value 6 times 4, 24. 2 remaining. 6 times 1, 6 plus 2, 8. And 2 zeros, so it will be 8,400 rupees. This is the duty amount. But if we want to find the final amount, we have to add this amount with 60,000. No? So the final amount will be 60,000 plus 8,400. So it will be 68,400 rupees. Right? That's going to be the final value of the item. And we have another method of doing the same question. Right? This is easy. So if the percentage is 14%, we can take that percentage for the final value as 114%. Then for the straight away you can get it as 114% times 60,000 rupees. This is the method, right? And then you can get that answer by cutting off 2 zeros. Then the amount will be straight away the same, 68,400. Right. That's the answer for the first major question. Question number 2, there's a figure given. There's a triangular figure given. The triangle, we have marked that these two sides are equal. And this is given as 130 degrees. Right. It's C, A, B and B. Right. These are the points that they have marked. Right. We have to find the value of the angle ACB. We have to find the magnitude of the value ACB. Then how can you find that? ACB means this one to be found, right? Yeah. Then we know that when it comes to this one, we know that this should be, actually these two angles should be equal each other, right? Those two magnitudes should be equal each other. Since this is an isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, the angles opposite to the equal sides are equal, right? Then they are equal in value. How can you get the value? You can find the value by taking, if I take that one as x, this also to be x degrees. Then for that, we can consider angles on a straight line here. No? Then x plus 130 degrees equals to 180 degrees. Angles on a straight line, then x equals 50 degrees. By subtracting 130 from 180, we can get that value. And then we can find if x equals 50 degrees, we can thereby get the value of this magnitude, right? How can you find that value? So we can take it like this, but I'm just taking that particular value, ACB plus 2x, no, then it's 50 plus 50, no? 2 50s, 50 plus 50 degrees, they added up to 180 degrees. Then you know, 50 plus 50 should be 100, then we have to subtract 100 from 180. So the magnitude ACB equals to 80 degrees. That's what the answer. 2. Right. Third question. The third one, we have to find the value of x in this equation. What we do is, first we can make the denominators equal. Right? Here I'm going to multiply this one by 2, the numerator also by 2. Then what comes for that? Then this will be 8 over 2x minus 5 over 2x equals 1 over 8. Now on the left side we have the same denominator, then to that we can subtract the terms 8 and 5. 8 minus 5 over the same denominator. 1 over 8. Then 8 minus 5, 3 over 2x equals 1 over 8. Now what we do? Now in this time we're going to cross multiply them. You can cross multiply the equation. So if you multiply 8 by 3, right, it becomes 24. 2x multiplied by 1 will be 2x, right. Then I will do the remaining steps here. So 24 equals 2x. Both sides should be divided by 2. Then x becomes 12. So the value of x is 12. Question number 4 is about square root lesson that we have learned in grade 10, right? Okay, in that one, we had to find the first approximation of root 30. Anyhow, they have given a hint. The hint is if we multiply 5.4 by 5.4, it will be 29.16. Then to the 29.16, somewhat less than 30 now. So we have to find a value which is more than 30 now. Then it's better to go for 5.5. As we can check 5.5 by 5.5, just multiply. Right, we're going to multiply that. 5 times 5, 25. 2 remaining, 5 times 5, 25 plus 2, 27. 5 times 5, 25, same thing will happen. Again 27. Then 5, 12, 1 remaining, 7 plus 3, 10. 1 remaining and it's 3. 30.25. Now how can you find the answer? Now we have to go for the nearest value for 30. Then we can find the difference between those two values. Now, let me show you for that. This is how we are doing it. We're going to find the difference. I'm going to subtract the first value 29 point, the given value was 29.16. Subtracting from 30 to find that gap. Right. Then it is 10 minus 6, 4. 9 minus 1, 8. 9 minus 9, 0. 2 minus 2 will be 0. Then it is 0.84. And the gap between 30 and this value, can you see? If I take that one to the 30.25 minus 30, it is just 0.25. Can you see? Now which one is having the nearest gap or the lesser gap, right? So the lesser gap shows the nearest value. Then thereby you can determine the nearest value as 30.25. Hence, the first approximation of root 30 should be what? It should be 5.5. So 5.5 should be the answer. Let's take the question number 5. It says, the rate at which water flows through a pipe fixed to an empty tank is 28 liters per minute. The flow rate is given. If the capacity of the tank is 112 liters, how many minutes will it take to fill the tank completely? Right, but it's about flow rate. You know that. You should know that flow rate equals the change in volume divided by the time. Right, in this occasion, what is to be found? Flow rate equals volume over time is the formula. It's like velocity or the speed equals distance over time, like that, right? Then, brother, here we know the speed, right? We know the flow rate is 28 liters per minute. And we know the volume of the tank. But we're supposed to find it, we have to find the time. Then, how can we find that? We can make this one as a subject. Now, then the time equals volume over the rate of volume change. Flow rate should be there at the denominator. The volume is 112. Flow rate is 28. Right? This is how we can divide them further, right? Then how can I divide them? We can divide them by 7. Now we can simplify them first. 7 times 4 here. 7 times 1 for 7 and 6. 16 divided by 4 will be 4. Then the time will be just 4 minutes. It takes a time of 4 minutes to fill the tank, right? Let's see the question number 6, right? There's a figure given. So it's related to cyclic quadrilaterals, right? Okay, let's see brother. Right, ADC to be found, right? The value of ADC, this one to be found. So I'm going to find that. We have to apply two theorems basically. If you can remember in grade 10, you have learned angles in a circle. So we have the theorem, angle subtended at the center, right? O is the center. Then angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended on the circle, right? This one. So if this is 110 degrees, this should be half of it, no? Should be 55 degrees. Half of 110 degrees. Then after finding that magnitude, then thereby you can determine this value. How can you find this one straight away? ADC. How you can find that? ADC equals 180 minus 55 degrees. 180 minus 55 degrees. then 10 minus 5, 5, 7 minus 5, 2, and 1 is 125 degrees. So what was the theorem that I applied? I applied this theorem, you know this, right? This is the theorem. It's about sum of the opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral. A, B, C, D is a cyclic quadrilateral. So in a cyclic quadrilateral, opposite angles are supplementary. Opposite angles are added up to 180 degrees. That's what the theorem I have used. Secondly, first I have used the angle subtended at the center is twice the angle on the circle, on the circumference. And then secondly, I have applied the theorem. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral is supplementary, right? So that's how we got the answer as 125 degrees. Okay, let's see the question number 7. It's about histogram, right? Okay, by using the given histogram, we have to complete the frequency polygons. And how we're going to complete that one? We can draw a line set where there are two columns now. Then we have to join this one to the mid-value of the first class interval 40 to 50. And then we have to mark this point to that, then we have to join those points and we have to mark another one and then we have to complete the figure, right? That is how we are completing the histogram according to that question. Right, up to now we have done 7 questions, and then 2 marks for each question. Then up to now we got 14 marks for that, right? Up to the 7th question. Then question number 8 is about LCM, right? Question number 8 is about LCM. Right. In that one there are 3 terms. We have 3x that can be written as 3 multiplied by x. We have to write the expansion of the terms. Second term 6xy. 6 can be written, or 6 should be written as a product of prime numbers, right? Then it can be written as 2 multiplied by 3 as a product of prime numbers times x times y. And the third term 4x squared y. Here 4 can be written as 2 times 2, but when it comes to the LCM, we have to go with the power value, right? So then we are writing it as a power, 2 to the power 2. And x squared should be kept as it is times y. Then we're going to find the LCM. How are we going to do that? We have to circle the factors or the numbers or the powers with the highest index. Then let's say from 2 we can take 2 squared. We have to take 2 squared. And from 3 we have 3 to the power 1. We should select it. And from x squared and y. Right? Then we're going to get the answer will be 2 squared times 3 times x squared times y. Then 2 squared is 4. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. Then it is 12x squared y. Right? That should be the LCM. 12x squared y is the answer. Right? But here also we will need 2 marks for that. Right? 2 marks, actually 1 mark for the method and 1 mark for the final answer. Right? Okay, let's see the question number 9. Right? It's about circle related geometry. Right? It says in the circle given in the figure, the diameter BD produced to E. Diameter BD produced to E, it's a diameter, right? Then find the magnitude of the angle CDE using the given information, right? We have to find CDE. CDE is an exterior angle, right? This is what we to be found, right? Okay, then for that, how are we going to find that? Look at the method. If this is 50 degrees, this also to be 50 degrees. How do we know that? Angles in the same segment, right? DBC is also equal to 50 because of angles they are in the same segment. I write the method here. Then you can clearly understand what it is. Same segment. And then you should know this one as well. Why that BCD becomes 90 degrees. What's the reason for it being 90? It says in the question that BD is a diameter. If BD is a diameter, the angle subtended on the circle by the diameter will be 90 degrees. So simply we call it as angles in a semicircle. Angles in a semicircle is a right angle. So this should be a right angle. Then we can determine that exterior angle straight away by applying exterior angle theorem. Or else you can find this interior magnitude and thereby 180 minus that one will be the same angle ADE, right? Sorry, CDE. So like that you can find it in 2 methods. I will just show you the easiest way to that. Here this is about angles in a semicircle. Angles in a semicircle. Normally you know, but for the first paper that is not necessary to write the theorems, but I have written it for your convenience. Now, how are we going to get that CDE straight away? CDE is the sum of the two interior opposite angles. It will be 140 degrees, right? This is the exterior angle. Exterior angle equals to the sum of the interior opposite angles. Sum of these two magnitudes will be the exterior angle. Right, this is the 10th question, right? 10th question, log 243 equals 2.3856. It's given. Now, in the question, they are asking, find the value of 10 to the power 0.3856. I know what to do. So, this is what we're supposed to do. Look at this. I'm writing this one in index notation, index form. How can I write that one? The base is 10 here. Therefore, I'm writing that one as 10. 10 to the power, this one, 2.3856 equals to this value, 243. Right, that's the value now. 10 to the power 2.3856 equals 243. Now, what we have to find here is, we have to find the value of 10 to the power 0.3856. Actually, this is the anti-logarithm. 10 to the power 2.3856 means anti-logarithm. If it is 2 here, right, since this is 2, since this value in front is 2 point, we have 3 numbers before the decimal point. That's how it becomes 243. Now, what if we have 10 to the power 0.3856, then put up the number in front is 0. So, we have to keep only what? If we have 2, we have to keep 3 numbers before the decimal. Then if we have 0, we have to keep only 1 number before the decimal point. Then this becomes, the answer becomes 2.43. So, the answer will be 2.43. Right? 2.43. We should have only 1 number before the decimal point. Right, then for the 10th question, we give 2 marks, right? 2 marks. Then the 11th one, there's a figure given, right? Then in the given figure, ABDE and ABFC are parallelograms, right? If they are parallelograms, the opposite sides are equal and parallel, right? Then by marking them, let me show you, these 2 lines are parallel. These 2 lines also parallel, it's a parallelogram. And this is another parallelogram, right? These 2 sides are parallel. These 2 sides are already parallel, right? Okay, then, right, it says name 3 triangles that have the same area as triangle BFC. Right, let me show you the triangle BFC. This is BFC. No? This is the triangle BFC. So we have to name 3 triangles initially. By looking at that, since it's a parallelogram, we have learned the theorem related to parallelograms. In a parallelogram, by the diagonal, actually BC is a diagonal for that particular parallelogram. Therefore, area of a parallelogram is bisected by each diagonal. So by that diagonal, it was divided equally. Therefore, it equals to the area of this triangle, isn't it? It equals to the area of triangle ABC. That is the first answer that you can write. Right? Because area of a parallelogram is divided by a diagonal. Then, can you see this one? ABC and ABD triangles are equal in area. Why? Because these 2 triangles lie between the same pair of parallel lines and on the same base. Then you can take this triangle as another triangle which equals to that area. So, it is the triangle ABD. That's the second answer. Then the third one, we have like 3 triangles. Then the third triangle will be, look at this, ABC, ABD is another parallelogram. Hence, it equals to this triangle as well. Because this one ABD equals to ADE area, because AD is a diagonal, and with that diagonal, the area of the parallelogram ABDE has been divided equally. So, ADE is also equal to the area of CBE finally, right? CBF finally. Now we can say triangle ABE. Right? Those are the 3 triangles that are equal in area. Anula, who is at point A of the, actually, she is located at point A, right? And who is, Kamal is located at point C. Then the angle of elevation is 50 degrees. So this should be the angle of elevation. It is 50 degrees per hour. Right? When you are looking from the horizontal eye level, when you are looking above, it is making an elevation, right? Okay. Now we have to find we have to find which answer is correct among the given ones, right? So then for that they have written sine, cosine, tan, right? So then tan 50 equals tangents. Can you remember these things? Sino, cosa, and tano. Right, sine opposite over adjacent, cos adjacent over hypotenuse, tan opposite over adjacent. Then for the when it comes to these things, sine OA, sine 50 equals opposite. If I write them all, sine 50 equals opposite over, that means BC over hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse, right? AC. AC, right? Is it correct? Sine 50 equals BC over AC. Yeah, it's correct, no? Then select the correct statement and underline it. If I take tan 50 equals opposite over adjacent. Tan 50 opposite over adjacent. Then BC over AB. BC over, it's wrong, right? Roman number 1 is wrong. Roman number 2, cos 50. Cos 50 is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is AB, AC. AB over AC, it's wrong. Only the third Roman number is the correct answer. This is the correct answer. Right? Give 2 marks if you got the correct answer. Right, okay, this is the 13th one. So we have to find the other factor. That means simply we have to find the remaining bracket. How can you find it easily? This is the easiest method, right? Look at this. If you multiply these two terms, it will give us the first term. Multiplying the first two terms, we could make the first term. Then first term is 2x squared. We have x here, then this should be 2x. 2x multiplied by x will be 2x squared. That's it. And then the product of these two terms will be the last term, right? Minus 3. Then plus 3 into minus 1 will be minus 3. So that should be 2x minus 1 is the bracket. Or else you can apply the normal method of factorizing, but it takes time for it. So we have to save time in this paper. Therefore, this should be the most suitable method, right? Give 2 marks on this. Right, well, let's see the 14th one. For the 14th one, I have drawn a grid here, but it's not necessary to draw a grid, but it's very easy to understand, right? For anyone can understand this method. That's why I did that grid here. So then for the, this is for the first die and this is the second die. Then these are the results that we can obtain. So then we have to find the values, right? Find the occasions where the sum should be added up to 4. It can be 1 in the first die and 3 in the second, no? Right, it's one opportunity, and or else it can be 2 and 2, or else it can be 3 and 1. So there are 3 opportunities where we can get the sum of the two numbers as 4. Right, there are 3 opportunities out of 36. So if we want to simplify, it will be 1 over 12, but anyhow it will be 3 over 36. Right. Let's see the question number 15. It's very easy, right? Look at this. We know that as per the question it says the line drawn from the center to the midpoint of the chord AB, isn't it? So then what happens with the line? So that line segment is perpendicular to the chord AB, right? So the line drawn from the center to the midpoint of a chord is perpendicular to the chord, right? That's what one of the theorems that we have to apply. Then you can find this magnitude, isn't it? You can find this one. This angle can be found, right? This angle. Then, how can you find that? You can write the theorem here, sum of the interior angles of a triangle. If I take it as x degrees, that should be x plus 30 plus 90 equals 180. Then 90 plus 30 should be 120. Then x equals 180 minus 120. So x equals 60 degrees. Right, x equals 60. But how can we find this one? This is what we are supposed to find. The exterior angle. This is a cyclic quadrilateral, isn't it? So in a cyclic quadrilateral, the exterior angle equals to its interior opposite angle. Can you remember this theorem? This one equals its interior opposite angle straight away. Then put that straight away that x equals to the exterior angle DCE. Thereby we can show that answer. Therefore, DCE equals to the value of x, then 60 degrees. Right, in a cyclic quadrilateral, the exterior angle equals to the interior opposite angle, right? You can write the theorem, exterior angle equals the interior opposite. And no need to write the theorem in the first paper. Now, I've just given you for your convenience because then you should know the theorem, right? That's fine. Then DC equals 60 degrees. It's about cylinder volume, right? Formula is given already there in the paper. They no matter with the formula, no need to remember that. But it says base radius is R and the height is twice of the base radius. Then it should be 2R. I took the base radius as R. Thereby the height should be 2 times of it, 2R. Right, then how can you build up the equation? Since the volume is given, you can straight away apply the formula. Right, I'm going to apply the formula straight away. Volume equals 5R squared H. Right, then volume B equals 2156. 22 is 5 is 22 over 7. Normally we are taking like that. And radius is to be found and the height will be 2R. Right, that also unknown. Now we can multiply 22 by 2, it will be 44 and R to the power 3, isn't it? R squared multiplied by R. R squared into R will be R to the power 3. Then over 7 equals to 2156. Now what to do? We're going to multiply both sides by 7, right? Then we can remove that division 7 from both sides. Here 7 to 7 cancel. Then in the next step we are going to, right, here we are going to divide both sides by 24, right, 44. We are going to divide both sides by 44. And then here 44 to 44 getting cancelled. And on the left side we can simplify them up to a certain extent, right? So I'm going to divide these two terms by 11. Divide by 11 will be 196. Now can you see, again we can divide them by 4, right? I'm going to divide them by 4. 4 times 1 for 4, 4 times 4 for 16, 3 remaining, 4 times 9 for 36. It's 49 for them. Then on the numerator we have 7 times 49 equals on the right side we have R cubed, right? And now we're going to multiply them. Let me show you. If we multiply them for the 7 times 9 will be 63. 6 remaining, right? And 7 times 4, 28. 28 plus 6 will be 34. Equals to R to the power 3. Then you know that 49 is 7 squared and we have another 7 in front. It will be 7 to the power 3, right? We can write this value as 7 to the power 3 R cube. Then 7 cube equals to that. Therefore, radius is 7 centimeters. Right? Radius is 7 centimeters. You are getting 2 marks for that, right? 1 mark for showing that method, right? And 1 mark for the final answer. Question number 17. Like, look at this for that. Here's what happened. We can apply that geometric progressions, or else we can do it like this. Let's say initially we have actually a certain number of ants, right? Let's say if we have x number of ants there, then for that it should be thrice or 3 times will be actually there within of 5 minutes or after 5 minutes, right? Then it will be 3x now, right? Then in the next 5 minutes, it will be again thrice, no? It says the content of sugar triples every 5 minutes. They will getting triples, right, every 5 minutes. Then in the next 5 minutes, it will be 3x multiplied by 3 will be 9x, right? So then after 10 minutes, 9x number of ants are there. So then they have given that quantity as 36. So 9x equals to 36. So if you divide both sides by 9, then we can find the value. We can find the number of ants that were there initially in this container, right? There were 4 ants there at the beginning, brother, right? Even you can apply that geometric progression formulas, right, brother? The common ratio will be 3, right? Common ratio is 3, then the first term to be found. Third term is 36, right? Let me show you that method as well. Let's say I want to find the first term. Common ratio is 3 multiplied by 3. And the third term, T3 is given, T3 is 36. They have already given it, no? Then you can apply the formula, right? Tn equals AR to the power n minus 1. Tn, a third term is 36. First term to be found, common ratio 3. 3 minus 1, right? Number of terms 3. A times 3 to the power 2. You know 3 to the power 2 means 9, right? Then p equals to 36. If 9a equals to 36, how can you get the value of a? So it's by dividing both sides by 9. Thereby the first term a equals 4, isn't it? That's what the same thing I did to that. This would be a difficult question if you can't remember the way of multiplying, right? It's kind of a tough question since it's about multiplication of matrices. Well, okay, let's see what to do with that. We're supposed to find the value of x and the value of y. Let me show you. This is how they multiply, right? Look at this further. If you multiply the second row, right? Second row by the first column. Second row multiplied by the first column. That means here we have to consider the rows. Second one we have to consider the columns. Rows into columns. Rows chicken. That's how we can remember that. So rows into columns will be this one, right? Then the first row, second row x1, the first column 2, 0, then multiplying them. Look at this. Second row, first column. So what's the value? It is 6. Second row, first column is 6. Then with the ID equals to 6. Then how are you going to multiply them? This is very important. Look at this. X multiplied by 2, 1 multiplied by 0. X times 2 plus 1 times 0 equals to 6. Then x times 2 is 2x plus 0 will be 6. Then for the if 2x equals 6, x becomes 3. After dividing both sides by 2, x equals 3. Right? X equals 3. Then how are you going to find the value of y? So look at the position of y. Position is first row, second column, isn't it? It's on the first row but the second column. Then look at this. First row multiplied by the second column. So you have to multiply this one by this column. So thus, if we multiply 0 minus 2 by 1 minus 1, we can get the value as y. Right? That's a method. Let's see. I'm going to multiply 0 by 1, 0 times 1, plus minus 2 multiplied by minus 1 equals to y. Here look at it, it should be 0. 1 times 0 will be 0. Second one, 2 multiplied by 1, 2, but it should be plus 2 because minus 2 into minus 1. When multiplying similar signs, the answer is positive. Then plus 2 equals y and then y equals 2. Right, brother? These are the values. Here x equals 3 and here y equals 2. Right? These are the values. These are 1 mark for each value, right? 1 mark for x and 1 mark for y. This is question number 19, right? Question number 19. In this one, brother, it says radius is 5 centimeters, therefore the diameter should be 10 centimeters, twice of the radius. And the length AC as given as 6 centimeters. We have to find the length of BC. And you should know this, brother, right? Here there's a theorem, right? AB is a diameter, then angle subtended on the circumference by the diameter is a right angle. Simply we call the theorem angles in a semicircle. So it will be a right angle here, right? It's a right angle, so 90 degrees. Then you can apply Pythagoras theorem, isn't it? You can apply Pythagoras theorem to find BC. So I'm going to write it like this. You can take it like BC squared plus AC squared. Sum of the squares of two sides equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is AB. Right, then BC is to be found. AC is 6 centimeters. AB is 10 square, right? 10 to the power 2. Then for the BC square plus 36 equals 100. Then if we subtract 36 from 100, it will be, will be 100 minus 36, it's giving equals to 64. Then if BC squared equals 64, BC equals to root 64, we have to consider only the plus value. Then the length of BC is getting equals to 8 centimeters, right? 8 centimeters. Right, with 1 mark for the method and 1 mark for the answer. This is 20th one is about Venn diagram, right? It says, in the given Venn diagram, shade the region that represents A union B complement, A union B dash. Let me show you. That means it belongs to A, right? That means it belongs to A. But B dash means B complement, right? B complement. So outside the circle B, I'm drawing it on the opposite way. Outside B, all the other things, right? Then in this one, we have to consider the union. If it is the intersection, you have to consider only the intersected region. But here we have to consider the whole region where at least one design is available. Only one hatch is born. Here we have the intersection, but other than the intersection, we have to go to all the relevant regions. So we have to shade everything except this portion, right? Except that one, we have to shade everything, right? So this should be the answer. We have to shade everything there in the Venn diagram according to the given expression, right? So if you did like that, it will be 2 marks. No need to show these as 2 hatches. You can make it in the same manner, right? So then you can show that answer like this. By shading the whole region, this becomes the answer, right? Now, okay, this is question number 21, right? In this question, as per the given figure, these two sides are equal. This is 70. Then straight away we can find these things for them, right? If this is 70, we should know that this should be 110 degrees. How do you know that? In a cyclic quadrilateral, ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. In a cyclic quadrilateral, the opposite angles are supplementary. They added up to 180 degrees. Therefore, this should be 110. And can you see, this is an isosceles triangle. Therefore, these two angles are equal each other. Then how can you find them? X plus 110 degrees added up to 180. Sum of the interior angles of a triangle. Then 2x equals 180 minus plus 110 becomes minus 110. 2x equals 70, then x equals 35 degrees. Right, x equals 35 degrees. This is 35 degrees each. Right, then we have to find the value of what? Value of the angle DBC. Let me show you something. DBC is here, no? Right, look at this, brother. This is DBC. So that DBC equals to the angle DAC, isn't it? Why those two angles are equal each other? They lie on the same side, actually same chord. Now look at this. DAC and DBC. Right? Those two angles are in the same segment, right? In the segment DC. So those two angles are equal each other. Therefore, since this is 35, this is going to be 35 degrees. Then DBC equals 35 degrees. Right? DBC equals 35 degrees. I write the theorem here. This is same segment. Right? Angles in the same segment are equal. That's what the theorem. So we can give 2 marks for that. Right? 22. Right? Here, first of all, we have to simplify this inequality and thereby we have to find the positive integral solution. Integral solution means the whole number solution which are less than 5. Right? Now, so then first of all, we have to simplify this one. Take that 10 to the right side as minus 10. 3x is greater than or equals 8. Dividing both sides by 3, this will be 3 times 2 for 6 and 2 for 8. Now 3 times 2, 6 plus 2, 8. So it's 2 over 3. Right? 2 over 3. It means whether x should be equal or greater than 2 point something. Right? As a decimal value, this will be how much? This will be 2 times 0, 2 times 6. Yeah, this will be 2.66 like that, right? Now, then we have to find the solution. Let's say, find the positive integral solutions which are less than 5. Then what are the solutions? It should be greater than 2.6 something, right? Then if it is greater than 2.6, the nearest, right, the nearest and the above whole number integral solution should be 3. We can take 3 and 4 as the solutions. That should be the answer, right? 3 and 4 only because it says less than 5. You cannot go for the value 5, right? These are the answers. 1 mark for simplifying that inequality, 1 mark for writing the two values. It's about triangular prism, which is having an equilateral triangular cross section. Equilateral triangular cross section. We can see all the 3 sides are equal, right? Then what we can say about the 3 rectangles? We have the same length. Length doesn't change, brother. And also the breadths are similar, right? Therefore, all the 3 faces, all the 3 rectangles should be equal in area. So which statement is correct? All the three faces are equal in area. Roman number 2 is the correct statement. Because can you see, we have the same width and the same length. See,
Right.
2 marks will be given for that. This is the 24th question. It's related to grade 9 graphs, right? Linear graphs. Write the equation of the straight line represented by the graph in the figure. Right. If you want to write down the equation of the straight line, definitely we have to find two things. We should find the intercept. So nothing to find actually. This is called the intercept. Where the graph intersect the y-axis is called the intercept. C equals 4. Then we have to calculate the gradient M. Right? We have to find the gradient M. How can we find that? We have to consider the coordinates for that. This is 2, 0. This should be 0, 4. First we are writing the x coordinate and secondly we are writing the y coordinate. Right? Okay, now we're going to find it like using the formula y1 minus y2 x1 minus x. Then the difference of y values 4 minus 2 over, right, y values 4 minus 2, sorry, it should be 4 minus 0, no, sorry, yeah, should be 4 minus 0, 4 minus 0 over 0 minus 2, then 4 minus 0, 4, this will be minus 2, hence the gradient will be negative 2, right, minus 2 is the gradient. Now we know the gradient and the intercept both, so we can write the equation y equals mx plus c, then the function is y equals minus 2x plus 4. Right, this is the function. Okay, so 1 mark for finding or writing the equation and 1 mark for finding the gradient. Right, right, okay, let's see the last one, 25th question. Right, this one, they have drawn 3 radius, so this is the diameter. This will be another radius having 8 centimeters length. Then it says, and incurred with sketch relevant to obtaining the chord CD, which lies at a distance of 5 centimeters from the diameter AB. That means a constant distance away from a given straight line, right? Constant distance away from a given straight line. That should be the locus. Then it will be a parallel line, right? Which is 5 centimeters away. Then definitely that line should pass us through somewhere in the middle, right? Then we are drawing that line segment. Look at this. We have to draw that line segment like this. So that will be a parallel line, right? That will be a parallel line having a distance of 5 centimeters each other. Then we can name it as CD, right? That's how we are completing that chord CD, which is 5 centimeters away from the line or the diameter AB. Right. Okay, we have discussed all the 25 questions in paper 1 part A, right, brother? So in the future videos, I'll be explaining you the answers of paper 1 part B and also the paper 2, all the questions. Okay, then follow our page for more videos in future, right? Then you can stay tuned, join with us.